noise was deafening, and I probably blacked out for, I have no idea how long, seconds. It couldn't have been more than a minute. But regaining my composure, I looked at myself and I saw that I'd been burned pretty severely. I had skin hanging from my ears and from my arms, my chest. Um, I was able to walk out of the building, met my partner who was coming in, and he was just aghast. He just didn't couldn't believe it, because this is just a matter of seconds, basically. From it was hardly any time from the last time I saw him till I saw him again, and he just looking at me like he was probably more upset than I was, because I was in shock. Decided that he should drive me over to the hospital rather than waiting for emergency help, because the hospital was so close. We did that. Went to Bronzeville Hospital, and the decision was made to send me down to West Penn Hospital burn unit, which, interestingly enough, I was instrumental in wiring. So, two things that I never really got to enjoy was the helicopter ride, because I was out, and the burn unit, never really did see the inside of it, because I was more or less in a coma the whole time, and that coma was induced. I was out for 5 weeks. The skin on my face had basically burned off. Lost parts of my ears. There was actually metal impaled in my teeth. So, yeah, like spears. My arms were burnt from where my sleeves, I had a short sleeve shirt on. So where under the short sleeves, my arms were burnt. My neck was burnt. I had a hard hat on, had safety glasses on, and essentially that was about as far as it went. Power should have been shut off, plain and simple. I made a very costly error by not insisting that the power was turned off. And as a result, I came very close to dying. I had acute respiratory distress from the smoke that I had inhaled, and that was probably the biggest thing that they had to work with or on. And I'd have to say that my family didn't deserve that mistake that I made. Again, I'll just reiterate, if you could actually see this light and explosion that takes place and the devastation after the fact, if you could see that, if you could witness that, you'd never work on anything that was hot. part of what happened to me was because of my own ego, because I've done it so many times that, like I said, you get the feeling that you're infallible. And find out that you're just skin and bones. I was never complacent. I mean, always very careful, but my fault. It was my fault because, in retrospect, I made that decision to work on it hard. Your life has to be just as important as everyone else that someone's asking you to work on that hot. Okay, what inconvenience could that be to being in the hospital for 9 months? Was it worth it? Yeah. When it comes to working on live circuits, live equipment, you really do have a choice. You don't have to work on energized equipment. It can be shut off. You're just too important. Think of your family. Think of your family.
It's important to recognize that much that can be done to prevent arc flash events are beyond the control of the individual who may be at risk of injury. Today we have the tools and technology to analyze the workplace, to identify arc flash hazards. We can use those tools and knowledge to better engineer facilities from the very beginning, to better engineer facilities if we're retrofitting or renovating a facility so that we reduce arc flash hazards either in magnitude or in frequency. It's important that the commitment to manage this hazard be visible at the very top of an organization. Management must demonstrate the commitment to provide a safe work environment and apply that commitment to the unique hazards of electric arc flash. Engineers that do the design of the facility, of the processes, of work practices can bring added value to preventing these events from happening. Partnerships with equipment suppliers that can bring innovative technology to both from say an industrial switchgear or commercial switchgear, as well as in the tools and protective clothing that people use on a daily basis. The safety professionals have a very important role in coaching the organization, management, as well as workers, and keeping the workplace safe. And I think the more that the safety professionals understand about arc flash, they'll be able to apply their expertise in hazard control measures, again, to the unique hazard of electric arc flash. Trainers and educators, whether they're in-house or people that you may contract with to provide those services to you, we need to make sure that they're knowledgeable and up to speed with current state-of-the-art knowledge on arc flash hazards, as well as electric shock, so that we're training and teaching people the best we know how. I think lastly, the worker, the person at risk, again, having had the training and education provided, having had the tools and protective clothing provided, need to really make a commitment to use that knowledge, to use those tools, to use that personal protective equipment every day.
The noise was deafening, and I probably blacked out for, I have no idea how long, seconds. It couldn't have been more than a minute. But regaining my composure, I looked at myself and I saw that I'd been burned pretty severely. I had skin hanging from my ears and from my arms, my chest. I was able to walk out of the building, met my partner who was coming in, and he was just aghast. He just didn't, couldn't believe it, because this is just a matter of seconds, basically, from, it was hardly any time from the last time I saw him till I saw him again, and he just looking at me like, he was probably more upset than I was, because I was in shock. Decided that he should drive me over to the hospital rather than waiting for emergency help, because the hospital was so close.